And we're live. Welcome back. So we're gonna go over Sui IRL. Now, Sui had an in real life event in Bali, Indonesia. They invited over 85 different creators to come and learn about Sui, to learn about their technology. So that's what we're gonna go over today and talk about some key moments. And maybe it's an indicator. They spent a lot on this event, definitely over $1 million. We can make some assumptions because they rented out the entire resort and created a really unique experience that I haven't really seen in other places, in other platforms. A lot of different projects will do things like info-fi campaigns. They have their other ways that they spend money to sponsor content, but this was like a sponsored vacation. So I thought that was pretty interesting. They did something very different, and I think that is already what's setting Sui apart. Now, I have been a big fan of what's been going on in the Sui ecosystem, so I already am familiar with the technology, some of the products, and the vision. But a lot of people weren't that familiar. They were other creators in Web 2, maybe some finance, and they just wanted a broader reach. So they didn't invite everybody that might already be a Web 3 native. They wanted to branch out. Welcome, Randy. We're just going over the chat, over the Sui IRL event. So this is Josh's post. You can see Josh had a fantastic time, and there's a big difference. I think that I had as maybe an older person versus Josh as a younger person. Josh had a great time partying, vibing with everybody. For me, I like relaxing. I like relaxing at the resort. So if you look at Sui IRL, the hashtag on X, you can see quite a few people posted about the events. They rented the entire resort, the Regent Tanggu Bali, I believe that's how you say it, and that was a really nice resort. We can look at some pictures later. I'm actually working on a video with all of the different moments. These stamped coconuts with all the different brands on there. So people were always familiar with it. So Walrus is a decentralized storage platform that is creating its own ecosystem. Double Up was one of the sponsors. They do um, crypto gaming. That's the best way to say that. And they're actually launching a poker platform that might be live already. I like playing poker, so I might be checking that out. And I thought this was really interesting that they invited a lot of creators like myself, and I don't get a lot of engagement on X, but this is Kato Batato or Chowtato, and she gets a lot of engagement from like the Sui community. Like some of her engagement is better than some of the KOLs that showed up. And I think that really should be the move for Sui. They invested a lot in existing creators, but maybe make their own in-house creators, make their entire team content creators that already are getting engagement from their own community. So that's how they could probably change things in the future if they want something more efficient. Because I thought it was very interesting that yeah, their team gets a lot of engagement. We're gonna skip that one. They gave out sweet bikinis, sweet swim trunks, and they're actually really good. I wanted a second pair because they're the best pair of swim trunks I ever had. Very nice fabric, zippered pockets. Um, I couldn't get more. All right, and yeah, I met pharmacist. This is an interesting guy. Gotta make sure I'm following him. He has a really big following. He's like one of the OG crypto farmers. He's always new to the newest protocols, biggest opportunities, and I just found out about him. Josh met him, connected with him. So yeah, lot of cool people at the event. I got a little video that I'm still working on, but you can see there were 85 creators in total. I think not all of them made it to the event, and they hosted panels and open questions for anyone to ask the leading management team at the Sweet Foundation, Walrus, about what they're doing, get better explanations, and have a better understanding of their vision. And this was an international event, so it was pretty cool to see a multicultural crowd of content creators. All the panels were hosted in English, and they even provided translation headsets to the panel so everyone could understand it very clearly. And that's something I haven't seen at regular events like some of the biggest crypto conferences. Now, there is a crypto conference I will be attending this Thursday and Friday, Taipei Blockchain Week, and I'm looking forward to that. So we'll be going over. Well, I'll be live streaming at that event. So look forward to that. There's going to be some interesting things happening. Hopefully, we'll be live at a crypto conference in Taiwan. So you've probably seen quite a bit of content of people posting at Sui IRL. There was content competitions and rewards. There's still some stuff going on, but yeah, it was a full-on creator event. So they want to make things competitive, get some engagement, get some value out of um, uh, the event that they hosted. So that pretty much covers what is SUIRL, and then they covered in-depth details on the different products, different things they could do. But honestly, I think a lot of the people there weren't really DeFi savvy, that they're coming from Web 2. Maybe they're more of a lifestyle creator, maybe they haven't used crypto as much. And I think it would have been better for them to have a more hands-on experience, like, all right, here's a test wallet, here's how you interact with it, here's how you farm crypto, these are the different experiences you can have, rather than at a glance saying this is what it is, this is what you can do. That works at a level where people are familiar with that type of ecosystem, they're familiar with DeFi, and the ranges of experience really, really differed. Again, we'll take a look at this crowd. There are people like not really 100% paying attention, but they sit pretty far back. So, they're not seeing that board of protocols very clearly. This is a presentation you have to be very up close for, so it's easy to lose track. And I think that they really needed to maybe have deeper dives into some of these products, maybe have some test computers for people to try out, to experience, to understand the differences of what they know in crypto and what Sui is building. So that, I think, is one of the things that they could have improved on for creator experiences and just conferences in general. A lot of these conferences, they'll have these booths and they'll give away merch, but they don't really showcase what they can do, what their product actually is, but they'll just talk about it. So I think having a hands-on experience where people can fully understand what they've built and what they can expect to do with something would bring things to the next level. What's up, Nick? Welcome, welcome. Going to be streaming at this time all week just because there's a crypto conference and I'm trying to show up at a more consistent time. And this is the merch they gave out. They gave a lot of merch. This is from um, Rav Heda. I'm going to read the English English side of things there. And it's funny enough, she runs the Taipei Sui Hub. So she also lives in Taiwan. And this is all the stuff that they provided at the event. And I actually really love the Bucket Protocol mug. It's kind of like you know, just a really good insulated large cup. I had to abandon this big ass towel. I'm like, I did not pack that much extra space in my luggage, and I could not bring a very large sweet towel back. But I brought back a lot of other merch. I didn't get the bikini, but I got the swim trunks. I think she got more stuff than me. I didn't see this little wallet here. I think I got most of I didn't see this ring. You can see these pink sticks here. These are food utensils from Eva Air. She also had the same flight. They're very cute, but that wasn't part of the package. I got the Sui IRL um, drink container or a water bottle. That one isn't great. It doesn't seal well. It leaks. So maybe I had a defective one. And a lot of this was provided by the sponsors. I'm gonna have a video detailing some of the merch that they provided and some of the experience. Still editing it, but we're going off the different experiences. So they provided a lot of stuff, including free cryptocurrency. Oh, she got two Sweet IRL cards. So that is, if you look at these two white cards here, those are cryptocurrency. Those are stashed cards where they have cryptocurrency on it. They lead to a URL where you can claim it very easily. So I think everyone had a pretty good time. I think one of the hardest things of getting to Bali is getting to places in Bali, just because the traffic is crazy, man. It took us 2 hours to get from the airport to the venue each way, and it's just crazy traffic, very aggressive driving, a lot of close calls. You don't want to be looking at the road. It's very stressful. It's very terrifying. And then these are the sponsors of the event, or the builders. So Bluefin, they do perps, they do vaults and liquidity providing, double up gaming. So think mostly gambling, momentum, DeFi, where that's maybe some yield farming, provide liquidity, helps facilitates trades for smaller coins. Walrus, their decentralized storage. Their vision for that is very ambitious. I'm pretty bullish. I'm pretty bullish about what they were talking about, what they were building towards. Basically, if you're thinking for about a decentralized YouTube, Netflix, Spotify, that's going to be Walrus. And with the unrest in Indonesia, with the censorship, that's needed immediately. But the problem is with a lot of these smaller upstarts in crypto media and social media, the algorithms are terrible. So it's really hard to get started there. It's really hard to get connected with the content that you're interested in. So they would need a very big push. And as I see other protocols try to launch things, if they don't have enough money to get that traction, most of them are destined to fail. So that's why you want to see a team that can execute, that has a history of um, finishing things and launching products that work. So I think that's another indicator we should always be watching for. Then we have Bucket Protocol, which does DeFi. I actually haven't used them in the last or this year. I don't think I've used them this year, just because their protocol is clunky. Hopefully they improved it. But yeah, you have these different DeFi buckets, and you have to like trade to a certain token to trade between buckets, and you borrow against it, and then it's very confusing. Even for me, as someone who's used many DeFi products, that user experience can be improved. Carrier One does hotspots. They're more of deep in. I'm I kind of wish I had a better explanation. We talked to the Carrier One guy, but it was like the end of the day. It was late at night, and it's just all of it. I was like, I'm not gonna remember this. I'm about to sleep in like 30 minutes. I was like, I'm not gonna remember anything you just said. Scallop and Sweetland, also DeFi protocols, pretty much competitors, but they can still grow the pie. Nick, Sui has been showing some very weak action lately. I agree. I agree. A lot of DeFi in general, or like alts, have not been keeping up with Ethereum. Bitcoin has done or is holding up okay. Ethereum has been the strong player at the moment. I think when we get to the point where there are more products for people to use on Sui, that's an indicator to maybe start looking at it. Or they're looking for more trading volume. I think that is what would be the best sign to see if they are growing, if they're getting that action. And that's what they did with this event. And maybe there might be some movement price wise in the next week or two, just because a lot of content creators, their content, if they want to participate in some of the competitions, is due on September 9. So you might see a lot of content from people, including myself, about Sui in the next week, which could cause some traction. But as for you doing things, it really depends. You're not going to see like crazy APRs on these DeFi platforms unless you have that trading volume to supply those rewards. So we'll have to see about that. And when you have like a gambling platform, it's really hard to bring degens over from other gambling platforms. So you'd have to kind of be a Sui native to be using Double Up, and they'd have to branch out and make unique products that aren't available and provide a better experience than the many other gambling protocols. So I think, there's the pros and cons of each one and the different challenges, but there are things we can look for to identify when those opportunities are starting to brew for investments. So yeah, these are the builders. They talked about quite a lot of things. They give a lot of fun stickers. Everyone had good vibes. Everyone had a chance to speak to some of the founding team and interview them. I did not. I chose not to. I chose to um, do some other types of content just because I know interviews don't do super well, and that they might just be burned out already just talking to creators all day, and their energy would be drained. So, you want a good interview, and I don't want to just be on that interview train with a lot of other people. So they were kind of locked in the content rooms where people could film and record with them for 2 of those days. Um, yeah, I thought it was a great opportunity for other people who don't really understand Sui or have gotten familiar with it to ask questions and learn about it. Yeah, there were a couple creators. Irene Zhao, probably the coolest merch. Double Up Jersey. I kind of roasted her in another tweet before the event, so I was like, oh, I don't want to meet her. I don't want to get called out. Gio Kamiya. I made some content with them. If you haven't seen the shorts, you should see them. I pitched my decentralized slapping idea to him, and then the end of the clip is just like he just had no words. It was just such a terrible idea. This is Raheem from the Coin Bureau team. It's pretty interesting because he used to be with, I think he said Bybit or OKX. He was their um, KOL manager or BD partnerships. And then he moved from a crypto exchange over to Coin Bureau to establish those relationships. And they're building out this giant ecosystem. Now, this panel wasn't helpful. I'll be honest with you. The Coin Bureau panel wasn't helpful at all. He most of the time he was talking about himself and his story and how they kind of just grinded and made content, and then it just kept and it picked up. So it was a really long story about consistency, but you got a room full of content creators. We want more actionable advice, like, all right, these are the type of deals you can look for, these are the type of deals to watch out for, these things are scams, these are the things we avoid, this is how we found growth on these platforms, this is where we failed, things like that. I wanted more insights, and they didn't really open up to a lot of different questions. Oh, we got Mepo in here. Rip, saw your sweet post and got me FOMO'd. Oh man, Mepo, you probably should have made some sweet content because they invited a lot of creators out here to the event. We even got Josh at the event, and they flew him premium economy all the way from Toronto, Canada to Bali. And he's still in Bali right now. He's having a good time. So yeah, they spent a lot on content creators. It was definitely north of $1 million just because they rented out the entire resort. The resort was only crypto people and the staff. And there were a lot of empty rooms because, about 120 people, more than 120 rooms in the resort. I thought it was great overall. I don't think I'd do it again just because Bali is pretty rough. Now it's kind of like the rooms were really nice. Yeah, a lot of giveaways, a lot of experiences. Isn't Sui an L1? Yes, it is a layer one blockchain. It's very different. It's not an EVM chain. It runs on the Move programming language. It has its own tools and wallets, and it's big enough where crypto exchanges are supporting withdrawals and deposits to Sui. Some also supporting USDC on Sui. So they've been growing very fast, and they're investing in their marketing because this was a very, very expensive marketing event. Got to yeah, strategize to make some sweet, so they invite you. Um, I don't know if they invited every. I feel like everyone made at least one video on Sui in the past. Eric Nomics, he's big on Instagram and TikTok. He's like a Web2 traditional finance creator, and he was wondering why he got invited, but he was dabbling into blockchain technology and other videos like that. So Sui invited him out because Sui's plan is to grow the pie to reach other creators in different niches and different people where if they start talking about Sui, they introduce new audiences. Because you also have to think like, all right, they can't just invite only creators that have talked about Sui because that is the same audience. It's the same audience. These are existing audiences that already know about cryptocurrency. So they branched out to people that were big on um, all types of different social media platforms: X, YouTube, Instagram, Threads, other stuff. I'm blanking, but there were quite a few different people out there. Um, and they were all very excited for a free trip. And there were some big players out there who definitely did not need a free trip to Bali, but they took it anyway. I don't think I have any video of them, but there was Brian Jung and Kyle Chassis, who, Coin Bureau. I don't know if he got paid for it or he just wanted to go out and support. But yeah, that trip to Bali, probably worth a few $1,000s for most people. But if you're a big content creator getting all these sponsorships and making a lot of money, it's probably not worth your time to go to Bali for a couple days. So I thought that was interesting that some people showed up that were really big. So they're either really into Sui and want to learn about it, or they just happen to want to go to Bali at that time. Yeah, definitely check out Sui. I'm probably most bullish about their technology and what you can do with it, but it's very early. We have to see them gain traction. There has to be more products, DeFi, DeFi volume, and users, but they overall provide a very good experience. So that is pretty much the trip. There were a lot of different panels. There's uh, there's some stupid stuff that happened. So yeah, during this panel, they were taking questions. They were taking questions from the audience. I raised my hand and they did not call on me. But maybe that's because I'm sitting at the very front at the corner, so they couldn't see me, and I couldn't ask my question. I was a little disappointed that they didn't call on me because I was also recording. I was ready to to create some moments, and yeah, they didn't call on me. And then later that night at the dinner event at the reception, they I found the host and said, "Hey man, yeah, great panel. Thanks for hosting. There were some live questions, but you didn't call on me. I was like there in the corner. I had a question. You didn't call on me. I called him out for it." And then he said, "Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't see you. I was looking like in the back. There weren't a lot of hands up. He was just like really scanning the room." And then I said, "It's okay. It was a stupid question. It was a really stupid question." And they said, "No, there's no stupid questions." And I said, "Yeah, it was stupid." It's like, "Oh, what were we gonna ask?" It's like, "All right, well, you know how there was the four founders at the panel, and they were sitting next to each other. I wanted to know of the four of them, who would win in a fight?" And then he spat out his drink. He was drinking and he just spat it out. It's like, "Yeah, that's a stupid question." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I wanted to ask that because asked the same type of questions. Some of the questions were like already answered and they just weren't paying attention. And I wanted to ask more clippable moments, maybe create different interest in people who aren't in crypto already, because the conversation leans pretty technical. So I had that. I had some other questions like, all right, who's the richest? And I was going to assume it was this guy. But after talking to some of the team, they said it's probably Adeni because he's one of the core founders, has a larger chunk of an allocation. And yeah, he's been there from the start. And if they said who works the hardest, they said Costas because he loves working and being creative and trying out different projects and trying out different ideas. So I thought there were more interesting questions that would show a little bit more personality and differences between the founders and managing team at the Sui Foundation. Yeah, I don't know if I have volume up here, but Coin Bureau Chinese, they answered the question like which one of them would win in a fight, and they answered the question. No one else answered the question, so I'm gonna use it in a clip. I'm sorry in advance. I'm not trying to make you guys look bad, but there's evidence. There's evidence that I was ready to ask that question. They didn't call me, and some people did choose to answer the question. And then, yeah, we had presentations from some of the sponsors. Bluefin was probably the biggest sponsor. Then you had Double Up and Sweeland. So, yeah, it's pretty interesting that they are building more unique DeFi products that you don't typically see on other platforms, just because with what you can do on Sui is a lot more. That's the best way I could simplify it without guessing and making my own summaries about how to use these different apps. And maybe I'll do that in another short or something. You know, I felt like there was more staff than people just because they had to rent the entire resort. So there was a lot of staff ready to take care of everybody there. So very unique experience. And a lot of other footage of of the event. Yeah, if you didn't see the clips, couple funny moments out there. Sui is too centralized being in crypto for a cash grab. I don't know. I don't know about that. I feel like you need a centralized experience. So maybe you're talking about the Cetus hack. I believe it was Cetus. I don't want to get the wrong DeFi protocol name, where they were able to recover $200 million from a $260 million hack by freezing the funds and bringing that money back. So that's fine. I, as a user who doesn't want to lose my money to a protocol hack, would prefer a centralized experience. I'm okay with that. If you want a decentralized crypto experience, that's okay too. There's lots of different blockchains that provide that. You know, I believe Metis is like, they market themselves as the most decentralized blockchain, but there's nothing to do there. There's no usage, there's no unique products, but it's the most decentralized. At least that's what they go with. So, you know, everyone has their option. I'm looking for a good experience. I'm looking for something safe. I'm looking for something that is going to continue growing, that's easy to use, and that can branch out outside of the crypto bubble and bring in regular users. And I see that with Sui. I checked their meme, but not as popular. Yeah, their degenning is limited. There's not a lot of meme coins, not a lot of trading volume, very limited NFT collections that are popular. So I still think it's early, but if we see that growing, that could be a pretty big indicator to uh, to that growth. So a lot of different things we should watch out for. I'm not going to say it's like the best investment right now, but I am very bullish on what they're doing. I actually bought some Walrus because I was so motivated on their vision and what they're building, and that's it's pretty much at its all-time low right now at around 38-40 cents. So I bought some Walrus just because, like, all right, well, it historically hasn't gone lower, so I'm bullish on that. And I um built. I'm building up a position there, so I am crazy bullish on their vision and what they're building. If they can execute fast and take advantage of things like the censorship in social media right now, that's happening with some of these Indonesia protests, that's happening with some of the protests or riots in the U.S. I think they'll have a very good use case. Cetus was there. No, Cetus was not at this event. So the event was primarily Sui and Miston Labs, and then for any project that wanted to sponsor the event. So they had a list of projects that sponsored. Pretty much, if you look at the merch, that was a sponsor. Let's see if I can find it. Or I think someone posted it on X. Here we go. So yeah, we had Bluefin, Double It, Momentum, Walrus, Bucket Protocol, Carrier One, Scallop, Sweeland. A couple of these are competitors in some sense. Bucket, Scallop, Sweeland, pretty much a lending. They're pretty much very similar. Different experiences, different things you can do. I didn't know with Sweeland you can loop your liquid staked SWI for like 14% APR. So I'm like, oh, I've just been doing regular staking. Let me do that. Um, Scallop, they didn't do a presentation, or I wasn't able to talk with someone from their team, but that's on me. I'm not that social. I chose not to talk to a lot of people just because other people had it covered. So I was like, all right, if a friend of mine already talks to them, I'll just get that information from them if it's like something I should be interested in. Josh really connected with the Carrier One team, so I was like, all right, well, Josh will give us a breakdown on that. Bucket, I didn't talk to them, but I clearly took their merch and I like it. I like these cups. They gave this like nice gym bag, some other stuff, but I like a good mug, something where I'm not actually traveling anywhere. I just want a cold to drink all day. Was anybody? No, I doubt that. No, man. I heard the sponsorships really ranged in price for some of this event. I don't know if I can share it. It wasn't like a crazy amount, but it was the same amount you'd expect for like a crypto conference. Big discrepancy between SWI and Move price. Both do the same, and Move is all right. Yeah, if you think they do the same, if you think they have the same products and experience and value, yeah, go with Move. If you look at that token price, if you look who's building on there, if you look at the founder abandoning the project, I'm getting a lot of heat. Whereas with the SWI team, there's five different founders, all different specialists in their field, and it's just I wish they could show the presentation on that, because I feel like that would hype people up if someone could really break that down well. Kostas is a specialist in cryptography. Evan is a specialist in, I think, machine learning and microchips. I'm guessing. I forgot the exact terms. This God, I'm on the spot here. But he invented the Move programming language, the language used by Aptos, used by Movement. He is the creator. He is on the Sweet team, making everything better, more efficient, faster. We have Ed and E, who, I'll be honest, it's not clear. His role is not clear because it seems like he's like the number one KOL of Sui. He's always on social media talking about it. He's always on interviews. I am a little confused about what Adani does, because like I don't know how he finds the time, or if he has like a intern managing his stuff. But I saw him at the event. If he wasn't talking to someone, he was on his phone. He was liking, responding, supporting the community. I'm like, that guy is a machine. Um, Other guy, God, I'm on the spot. I'm not going to remember all these names right now. I know Christian. He is the managing director of the Sui Foundation. I actually met him outside the venue because I was looking for where the conference room was. There was not any sign, so there was a lot of confusion up to where the event was. He actually did the opening presentation at Sui event in Dubai. Yeah, Sui Base Camp, and yeah, they're all like pretty big players in their own field. So I think that's what sets Sui apart. That they have a team of founders and directors that are all specialists in their own field, whereas other blockchains might just have one founder, one vision, who just doesn't execute. And we've seen that many, many times. So this is like an older crowd too. You know, they're not like a young 20-year-old with this grand vision that's trying to build something. These are all very experienced and seasoned people who have those connections, who have those experience, who knows how to operate in an organization. And they even said that they've been talking, maybe leaking some alpha here, but they've been talking with some big protocols, big traditional finance to onboard their services into Sui. And they were looking towards Sui Network just because they have that established history of security, that they have a team of specialists, that they're not looking to try their luck on like some forked EVM. So it's just something to consider. You know, we really have to look at, is this team established, or is it just some young guy with a grand vision who says they went to MIT, who worked for OpenAI for a week? Who knows? Who knows? But these are all people very passionate about what they're building in their specific niche, where they don't have to do everything, but they just have to focus on what they love building, whereas some of the other founders will take on those other roles. Have you been to Solana events? How do Sui and Solana events compare? Did they call on you for questions at the Solana event? That's a great question. So last year, I went to Solana Breakpoint in Dubai, pretty much Solana Breakpoint Singapore. That was in the same time as Token 2049. It was a great event. They really are good at creating an experience, good vibes. It was a more relaxed environment than Token 2049. They even had nicer and more comfortable seating with pads, like padded chairs, couches. You know, the panels were set up as like debate booths rather than just four different seats. So they provided for a better experience for clips. They live streamed the entire event, so you didn't really have to be there. So if you wanted the latest news, they provided for that for free. It wasn't gate kept, and overall, great event. Different vibes though. Like you can kind of tell that they were targeting a very young audience, like early 20s and even younger than that. There was a lot there was a lot of cargo pants. I'm gonna say it. There was a lot of young crypto bros, a lot of cargo pants, a lot of vaping. You know, it's like I felt old. I felt super old being at that event. So I don't know if I'll go to another Solana Breakpoint event, but if they're live streaming it, I'm absolutely going to watch that just because they have a lot of interesting builders, a lot of innovation. They're willing to try new things, because they want to stand out. They want to continue growing. They're going to invest in innovation. So that's why I think Sui and Solana are some of the best blockchains to be building on, just because they are standing out. They are providing a better experience, and they're investing in new ideas that will grow the market share of crypto users. So, but overall, I don't think I'll go to another Solana event, man. It just a lot of meme coins. There were a lot of meme coins there. A lot of people in costumes. It was the most costumed event I've been to. It wasn't like people wearing cosplay or anything, but those big costume mascots of the different meme coins, all promoting their meme coins at the event, because Solana, Pump Fun, it's the home of meme coins in crypto. So yeah, it was a little much. They were even giving away bottles of champagne, and I was like, I don't like. They're trying to hand me one. I was like, I don't want this. I was like, one, I'm not gonna drink it. Two, I'm not gonna bring it back to Taiwan. Three, like there's a bunch of free drinks already. Four, it wasn't cold. It's like, what am I gonna do with this warm bottle of champagne while I'm going to all these different free events that also already have free drinks? So I mean, a lot of interesting merchant experience. I thought they had great food though. The food at the Solana Breakpoint event, pretty good. The merch too, they gave out nice jackets as well. Yeah, those are the meme coins. I don't know too much about Telegram and their ecosystem. Rather than just the fundamentals, I actually don't know what's going on ton. Yeah, if you're gonna go with like degen plays, a lot of the attention is on Solana, and people are building there just because it gets attention. I'm at the yeah, I think there was a dude like that. There was a lot of weird stuff at the at the Solana event. So I'd say that's the difference. I think I guess it depends on what you like. I prefer the Sui events. They're also very good food, very good experience. You know, they put the effort into designing the entire conference center or exhibit hall into a unique experience for users. Everything has the right vibes. I don't know how to put it, but if you look at some of the crypto conferences, they're very cold. Whereas some events, they put in that extra time and effort to provide an experience rather than here's a cubicle, here's a little poster, this is what we do. You know, so I think that's important to get people on board and experience like what they have to offer. And for future events, I'd like to see at any SWE event or crypto conference, like, all right, a demonstration. Like, this is how you use our protocol, just a big projector where everyone can see from far away. It's like, all right, this is the value of our project. This is what people are using it for. This is how people are making money. This is where people are speculating. So just like make it very clear this is our value proposition. And if you see these things, these are the indicators of success. And I think, yeah, just simplifying that can get a lot more people interested. All right. That's pretty much what I got. We're at about 42 minutes. I still got to make this sweet video. I'll be streaming all week. Today and tomorrow is going to be here at my home. But Wednesday, Thursday is going to be at Taipei Blockchain Week. We're going to be at a crypto conference and we're going to be streaming almost the whole day or even longer than that. We'll see how long we can stream. I'm going to be chatting with a lot of other people. And it'd be nice to have some interesting questions. So if you want to ask something kind of crazy, we can do that as well. Let's see. JD, I know you ordered a sweet plate, as did I. I haven't even gotten the chance to use it yet. What do you think? I haven't received it yet. I got to check. I think I have to check in with customs. So receiving items internationally from Taiwan is a little different. I have to go through customs. I have to check if it got delivered, and then I have to pay the duties on it. So I'll see how that works because I didn't give him my phone number. I gave him my wife's phone number, and maybe she ignored it and it's like, I didn't order this. So I gotta figure that out because I know it's gonna have some high tariffs on it. I haven't played yet, but there is a Sweet Play event in Taiwan this coming Saturday with a bunch of games that have launched. So yeah, maybe I'll share what's going on with that event. All right. Thanks for everyone hanging out. We're going to stream again this week, this time, most of the week. All right. That's it. And we'll catch you in the next one. Cool, guys. And now this is just the end game, the Marvel post credits while the stream catches up. And then I have to close this out. So, yeah, that's it. Good hanging with you. And until next time. And I'll probably bring more topics to talk about, but that's all I got. All right, Avengers end credit scene.